The Criminal Tribes Act enacted first time तो 1871 में Criminal Tribes Act 1871 was enacted by British government in the colonial India purpose to classify certain tribal communities as criminal by birth and subject them to surveillance and restrictions. Initially enforced in northern India, later extended to Bengal and other regions. फिर पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद रिपेल कर दिया गया. एक्ट वॉज रिप्लेस्ड इन 1952 रिकॉग्नाइजिंग इट्स डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी नेचर. द एक्ट लेड द सोशल स्टिग्मा एंड मार्जिनलाइजेशन ऑफ सेवरल ट्राइब कम्युनिटीज. 1952 में इसको रिपेल कर दिया गया. The Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention Act 1989 came into force on 30 January 1990. 30 January 1990. The Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 was enacted to prevent atrocities against SC and STs. Date of enforcement came into force in 30 January 1990 after receiving the President assent on 11 September 1989. ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? टू प्रिवेंट क्राइम्स एंड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन अगेंस्ट SC STs, टू प्रोवाइड रिलीफ एंड रिहेबिलिटेशन टू विक्टिम्स, provisions special courts for speedy trial, punishment, stringent punishments for offenders including fine and imprisonment. Significance: strengthen the constitutional mandate under Article 17, abolition of untouchability, and Article 46, promotion of educational and economic interest of SC ST. Under which act the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Atrocities Removal Law was implemented? Act 1989 के तहत. Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 was specifically enacted to remove atrocities and provide legal recourse for SCs and STs facing discrimination and violence. The act provided for special courts to ensure speedy trial and stringent punishment. It was a landmark law to address historical injustice faced by marginalized communities. ठीक है. How many sections are there under Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention Act 1989? तो 23 sections हैं. SC ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 consists of 23 sections covering various provisions related to prevention, protection and legal procedures. जैसे Section 3 Offences of Atrocities, Section 14 Establishment of Special Courts, Section 18 prohibits anticipatory bail, Section 23 power of the central government to make rules. The Act has been amended several times to make it more effective, including amendment in 2015 and 2018 to address judicial delays and loopholes. The Act has been amended several times to make it more effective, including amendments in 2015 and 2018 to address judicial delays and loopholes. Who has had the power to make rules for carrying out the purposes of SC and ST Prevention Act 1989? The central government. According to Section 23(1) of the SC ST Atrocities Act 1989, the central government has the authority to make rules for carrying out the purposes of the Act. These rules are framed and notified the official gazette. The Scheduled Caste and the Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocity Act rules 1995 were formulated under this provision. Objective क्या था? To provide clear guidance for investigation, relief and rehabilitation and other related procedures. Criminal Tribes Act 1871, one of the most oppressive colonial laws, impacting nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. SC/ST Act relevance 1989. This law reflects affirmative action and constitutional mandate to ensure social justice for historically marginalized communities. Central role: the centralization of rule-making power ensures uniform application of provision across states. Judicial interpretation: in Subhas Kasinath Mahajan versus State of Maharashtra 2018, Supreme Court's decision to dilute provision was later nullified by amendments, reinforcing original stringent provision. Under which section of the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Time Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 is economic boycott defined? Section 2BC. सेक्शन 2BC में डिफाइंड है. किसमें है? सेक्शन 2BC में. Economic boycott. Section 2BC of the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention Act 1989 defines economic boycott as exclusion of SC/STs from any economic resources, employment, or denying them economic benefits. Include denial of land rights, hiring, discrimination, and withholding wages. It includes to protect the SC/ST from social economic exploitation. This provision ensures economic inclusion and safeguards the right to livelihood. Article 21. सेक्शन 2B एट्रोसिटी को डिफाइन करता है. 2BC डिफाइन इकोनॉमिक बाइकॉट. Offense committed by any public service servant under Section 3 of SC/ST Act Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 provides for a minimum punishment for 1 year. If public servant commit any offense under Section 3 of the Act, the minimum punishment is imprisonment for 1 year. Public servants are instructed with power and responsibility. Misuse of this power was against SC/ST attracts harsher punishment. If a police officer denies lodging an FIR on caste grounds, it falls under this section. Under the Act of SC/ST Act 1989, in which section is there a provision for the arrangement of a special court? Section 14. Provide arrangement for a special court to ensure speedy trials of offences committed under the Act. These are the exclusive courts for handling cases relating to atrocities against SC/ST. Purpose: to avoid delays to ensure prompt justice. Special public prosecutor appointed under Section 15. 40 deals with special courts. The state government can specify a court of session to be a special court to try the offences under SC/ST मतलब Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 with occurrence of the Chief Justice of High Court. The state government can specify a court of session to be a special court to try the offences under SC/ST Prevention Act with the concurrence of Chief Justice of High Court. As per Section 14, the state government, with the concurrence of the Chief Justice of the High Court, can notify a court of session to be a special court of session to be a special court for trying offences under the Act, to maintain judicial integrity and independence in the appointment of special courts. A court of session is specified as a special court under SC/ST Act 1989 is for the purpose of providing speedy trial. The speedy special courts under Section 14 of the Act are specifically designated to ensure speedy trials, to deliver timely justice to victims of atrocities. Speedy justice is constitutional mandate, Article 21, essential for victim relief and confidence. चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ हाई कोर्ट कहते हैं गवर्नमेंट से कि एक सेशन कोर्ट स्पेशल कोर्ट बनवाइए जल्दी से, ताकि ये SC/ST एक्ट का मामला वो किया जा सके. An appeal under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 shall lie from any judgment, sentence or order of the High Court, both facts and law. An appeal under SC/ST Act can mandate to the High Court on both factual and legal grounds to ensure comprehensive judicial scrutiny, including factual errors or legal misinterpretations. Factual errors or legal misinterpretation. The SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act is a special provision for the advancement of SCs and STs based on which of the following doctrine? Doctrine of protective discrimination. Protective discrimination, a constitutional doctrine to uplift marginalized communities through affirmative actions. The Act is an example of positive discrimination, providing legal protection to SC/ST. Article 15(4), special provision for SC/ST, abolition of untouchability. Article 17, Article 46, promotion of educational and economic interest. The SC/ST Act symbolizes social justice and addresses the historical exploitation faced by these communities. It reflects the constitutional commitment to equality, aiming to empower marginalized groups through protective legislation. Remember that speedy trial and special courts are crucial components of the Act to ensure timely justice. The doctrine of protective discrimination and underlines affirmative action policies, crucial for understanding Indian social justice laws. Indian social justice laws. Who is empowered for imposition and realization of collective fine under SC and ST Act 1989? State government. एक कलेक्टिव फाइन लगा सकते हैं. एंड एज पर आर्टिकल सेक्शन 16 ऑफ द SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, the state government is empowered to impose and realize a collective fine to deter a community-based discrimination and atrocities committed against SC/ST. Why collective fine? If a group is involved in committing an atrocity or supporting discriminatory practices, the state can penalize the entire community to ensure social accountability. Significance reinforces the state's role in protecting vulnerable groups from systematic oppression. Understanding the options, district magistrate does not have authority to impose collective fines under this act. State government, correct, as per the act. Special court deals with the trial, not fine. ये ट्रायल से डील करते हैं. हाई कोर्ट प्राइमरली एंड अपीलेट अथॉरिटी. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट पोज करेगी कलेक्टिव फाइन. In the prosecution of for an offence under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, the court can presume which of the following: abatement, common intention, common object. All of the above. Abatement, to encourage or help someone to do something illegal or wrong. अच्छा, मदद करना. As per Section 8 of the SC/ST Act 1989, in any prosecution under this Act, the court shall presume the existence of abetment, common intention, and common object unless the contrary is proved. This provision aims to address collective offences where multiple people are involved in committing atrocities. For example, if a group assaults an SC/ST person, all participants may be presumed to have a common intention or object. Legal doctrine based on the common intention are Section 34 IPC and common object Section 149 IPC. Abatement, correct as abatement can be presumed common intention under group offense, common object especially in mob violence. ठीक है. Which of the following section of SC/ST Act 1989 provides for the application of certain provision of Indian Penal Code? Section 6. Section 6 of the SC/ST Act 1989 provide for the application of certain provision of Indian Penal Code, including Section 34, acts done by several persons for furtherance of common intention. Section 34, act done by several persons in furtherance of common intention. Chapter 3, general exceptions. Chapter 4, general exemptions of right to private defense. 5A, abatement. 149, every member of unlawful assembly guilt of offence committed. Objective to harmonize SC/ST Act with the IPC for more effective prosecutions. ठीक है. Section 12 deals with presumption of certain cases. 1040 for future of property. For यार ये तो एक तो ऐसा वर्ड बना देते हैं. forfeit, lose or deprived of property as a penalty for wrongdoing. अच्छा, इसमें ये भी है मामला. In how many days will the investigation officer submit its report for the offences committed under the SC/ST Act 1989? 30 दिन के अंदर. As per the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Rules 2016, the investigating officer must complete the investigation within 30 days and submit the report to the Superintendent of Police. Revised Timeline 2016. The charge sheet must be filed in special court within 16 days, 60 दिन के अंदर, including investigation period, to ensure speedy investigation and justice. Under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, which of the following is barred? Anticipatory bail. मतलब Section 18 of SC/ST Act 1989 bars anticipatory bail for any offence committed under the Act. Reasoning to secure that accused person do not misuse their power or state to escape justice. मतलब उसको जेल जाना ही जाना पड़ेगा. To escape justice. Judicial review in Subhas Kasinath Mahajan versus State of Maharashtra 2018. The Supreme Court diluted this provision, but in 2018 amendment restored the original intent, reaffirming the bar on anticipatory bail. मतलब पहले जमानत नहीं मिल पाएगी. Under which of the following section of the SC/ST Act 1989 is anticipatory bail prohibited? Section 18. Categorically state that no anticipatory bail shall be granted to any person accused of committing an offence under the Act. Judicial interpretation. In Prithviraj Chauhan versus Union of India 2020, Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of this section. Rationale: to protect victims and ensure that perpetrators do not influence witness or tamper with evidence. Section 16 deal with offences related to public servants. Section 17 discusses preventive action to be taken by law enforcement. The SC/ST Act 1989 is a landmark legislation ensuring social justice and protection against discrimination. The bar on anticipatory bail under Section 18 reflect law's stringent approach toward caste-based atrocities. The time-bound investigation under 2016 amendment emphasizes the need for prompt and fair justice. The protective discrimination doctrine support affirmative action as upheld in the Indira Sahni case 1992. An offence committed under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 shall be investigated by a police officer not below the rank of DSP. As per Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Rules 1995, any offence committed under Act must be investigated by police officer not below rank of DSP, Deputy Superintendent of Police. Objective: to ensure investigation is conducted by a responsible and higher ranking officer to maintain fairness and integrity. Reasoning: lower ranking officer may lack the authority or capacity to handle sensitive cases of atrocities against SC/ST communities. Significance: the involvement of the DSP ensures accountability and professionalism in handling atrocity cases. Understanding: Sub Inspector to Law DSP ही वो करेगा. Which of the following power is not provided to a specified special court under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act? जो नहीं provided है. Forfeit of property to convict for an offence सही है. To authorize a person for extra investigation other than police नहीं. पुलिस के सिवा कौन वो करेगा. To remove a person from an area who is suspected of committing crime सही है. Take measurement and photograph a person who is suspected of committing a crime सही है. Special courts under the Act do not have the power to authorize private or non-police entities for investigation. Investigate authorities remain with the police force, especially under the DSP's supervision. Other powers of special court: forfeiture of property allowed under the Act, removal of person possible under preventive measures, measurement and photograph can be ordered for identification. Objective: to ensure the investigative powers are not misused or delegated arbitrarily. Which one of the following powers are special court? Which of the following powers a special court cannot exercise under the SC/ST Act 1989? To impose a collective fine, ये सिर्फ राज्य सरकार कर सकती है. The power to impose a collective fine is vested in state government, not the special court. Why? Imposing a collective fine requires administrative and executive authority, which lies with the state rather than the judiciary. Objective: to prevent misuse of judicial power and maintain a balance between judicial and executive functions. Section 16 of the Act allows the state government to impose a collective fine. In a prosecution of an offence under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, the accused in defence cannot take the plea that the act was done in exercise of the right of private defence. ये नहीं कह सकते हाँ कि प्राइवेट डिफेंस के लिए किया गया था. और दूसरा, द एक्ट causes such slight harm which could not be a subject of the complaint. ये भी नहीं कह सकते हैं. The accused cannot take the defense that the act was done as a right of private defense. The act does not extend atrocity cases on this ground. Causes of slight harm. Any harm based on caste discrimination is considered an offense. Even if the accused belongs to the same caste, it does not provide a valid defense under this act, as the focus is on caste-based atrocity rather than the caste of perpetrator. A person harmful or immoral act. मतलब वो उसकी जात का भी हो सकता है, तब भी उस पर इसी की तरह वो मामला चलेगा. Under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, whoever not being a member of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, whoever not being a member of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe causes physical harm or mental agony of a member of SC/ST on the allegation of practice which warcraft or being which shall be punishable with allegation of practicing witchcraft. WITCH witchcraft, जादू टोना वाला मामला. witchcraft causes physical harm or mental agony of member of SC/ST on the allegation of practicing witchcraft or being which shall be punishable under SC/ST. Whoever not being a member of a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe causes physical harm or mental agony of member of SC/ST on the allegation of practicing witchcraft or being a witch shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months but which may extend to 5 years or with fine. The SC/ST Act 1989 criminalizes branding SC/ST individual as witches or accuses them practicing witchcraft, jadoo tona. Minimum punishment 6 months imprisonment extendable to 5 years. Fine and additional monetary penalty. Objective to protect SC/ST individuals, especially women, from social ostracism, violence and mental harassment on baseless allegations. Context: witch hunting is a social evil and predominantly seen in tribal and rural areas. ठीक है. The SC/ST Act 1989 is crucial safeguard of dignity of marginalized community, especially against atrocities and social discrimination. Witchcraft allegation a common issue in tribal areas, leading to violence and social exclusion. The Act's stringent punishable aims to curb such practices. Judicial precedents. Courts have consistently upheld the constitutionality of stringent provisions under the Act, recognizing the historical oppression faced by SC/STs. Recent development: states like Jharkhand and Odisha have enacted specific laws to curb witch hunting practices in line with the SC/ST Act. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Offense under SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act are committed by a person who is not a member. सही है. Exclusive special court established under section 14(1) of the SC/ST Act is defined नहीं. Victim is defined under section 2(EC) of the SC/ST Act. Dependent is defined under section 2(BB) of the SC/ST Act. As per SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, the exclusive special court is defined under 2(1)BD, not section 2D. Exclusive special court established specifically for trying offences under SC/ST Act to ensure speedy justice. Objective: dedicated court help minimize delays and ensure fair trials. Under which one of the following section of the SC/ST rules 1995 Constitution of District Level Vigilance and Monitoring Committee has been provided. Section 17. As per Section 17 of the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Rule 1995, each district shall have a district level vigilance and monitoring committee headed by district magistrate. एक कमेटी बननी चाहिए to monitor the implementation of the act and ensure justice for victims. Review atrocity cases, monitor rehabilitation and relief measures, submit periodic reports to the state government. ठीक है. Under which of the following section of the SC/ST rules 1995 has material for annual report has been provided? Section 18. As per Section 18 of the SC/ST rule 1995, the provision for material for annual report is given. Purpose to document number of cases registered, investigations conducted, conviction and acquittals, relief measures and rehabilitation. Why important? Help in evaluating the implementation of the act and identifying gaps in enforcement. ठीक है, तो ये हम लोग का ख़त्म होता है. बाकी अगले पार्ट में मिलते हैं. ठीक, थैंक यू, बाय बाय.